There, I saw a UFO, and it went down the river, turned right at the United Nations, turned left, and then down the river. It wasn't a helicopter, it wasn't a balloon, and it was so near.
And you look what sort of round, white, luminescent, and silent.
Silent, and it looked dark, like black or grey in the middle, and had white lights, just looked like light bulbs, you know? Just going off, on, blink, 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 round the bottom, and on top was a red light.
If you see a little note on walls and bridges, it says, I saw a UFO. And I was just finished doing walls and bridges. I'd mastered it or done the last tape of it. And I was really just relaxed and feeling good. And it was summer in New York, and I had the window open. And lo and behold, there was this thing just hovering sort of 100 yards away. But I saw it so close, it wasn't in the sky or nothing, you know? And it was like I could have hit it with a brick if I'd thrown a stone at it. I couldn't see the colours because it was dusk. It was a good, clear summer night. You know, the sky was very clear. And round the bottom of it were just ordinary-looking electric light bulbs, blinking off and on alternatively, like on a billboard or something. And on the top of it was a red light. And the thing I noticed was that there was no noise, and I could hear that freeway down below, all the cars going. So I realized, oh, it's not a helicopter, then it must be a balloon. But it was so close to the rooftop that it couldn't be a balloon. So all the rational things I went through, not a helicopter, balloon. Not a balloon, it's too close to the roof, and it's maneuvering too well to be a balloon. So I just watched it, and it was there for about 5 or 10 minutes. It went off down the East River, and there it was, and that's all I've got to say about it.
As you remember, I recently directed the Secretary of War. How good is Pete Hegseth doing, by the way? To begin releasing government files relating to UFOs and unexplained aerial phenomena.
Yes, finally. Am I the only one clapping? You?
I figured this was a good crowd because I know you people, you're really into that. I don't know if I am, but so I'm pleased to report today. I thought I'd save it for this crowd because you're a little bit out there, you know, a little bit.
New conspiracy theory was just born. There is no crowd, apparently.
That this process is well underway, and we found many very interesting documents, I must say, and the first releases will begin very, very soon.
How many times is this gonna take? Oh, crap. Oh, I gotta cut that out. Gonna get this right this time. For the first time in history, we as a civilization and a nation have made the actual choice to reach out and change history, touch the fabric of reality just to let it know we are here. We as a civilization have, for the first time, acknowledged that there is extraterrestrial life in the universe. So from this day forward, we live in a new world altogether. I invite you to take advantage of this unique opportunity that we have to start anew. Start from scratch, wipe the slate clean, and create a masterpiece. Let go of all the things that we've been wanting to let go of, but just haven't had the time, or haven't had a reason, haven't had the motivation. There is no better time than now, because we will not get another opportunity like this to wipe the slate clean and create a masterpiece of whoever we want to be out of ourselves. So, take advantage of this opportunity, because there's not going to be another one. Would you want to introduce the current you to the first being from another universe or another civilization? And if not, take this opportunity to change the things you just listed in your mind just now and be whoever you want to be. This is the last call. Let it go. It's okay. You can't take it with you, and it's clearly too heavy to carry. Let it go. It's time. Major changes are finally taking place, and I'm talking major changes. If you aren't already aware, which I'm sure most of you are, the first president in history to make a public comment on UFO disclosure happened yesterday. Trump finally made an announcement talking about releasing the files related to UFO disclosure. And amazing people who are doing awesome work in our government. Finally, for a change, we've got great people in government. People like Congressman Anna Paulina Luna is leading the charge when it comes to finding the truth, being on the heels of these media conglomerates and witnesses and everybody. She's chomping at the bit to get the truth out to the people, and I love it. Congressman Luna, you have the full support of every single one of us. We are right there with you all the way. We're standing behind you. If you need anything, by all means, we're right here for you. Thank you for everything you're doing. Anyone who's hunting for truth and getting it out to the American people so that they can hear how all of these things are truly affecting our world now and in the past and in the future. We are very lucky to have people like you guys fighting the truth, leading the charge for every single one of us. So thank you so much for that. Now, to the point. There's a whole lot to cover today because a whole lot has happened in the last 24 hours. I had a lot of different interviews set, a whole bunch of different videos planned for release, my own videos that is, but given the fact that the last 24 hours have basically done a 360 on what I was expecting, I kind of had to change up my plan. But as of right now, I'm planning to release a conversation with the one and only Armando May of the Cofre Project, talking about amazing different topics and theories that are somewhat coming out right now. But there's also Filippo Biondi's amazing comment about a second Sphinx, and also yesterday, a 100% confirmation came out for that. That's right, 2 Sphinxes officially on the Giza Plateau. And if you figure out any of the subliminal messages from my earlier posts or any of the videos from the past week from me personally, you know my personal belief. But I will say, speculation, just to make sure I clarify, I believe there's 4 Sphinx on the Giza Plateau. Based off of the scans that I study on a regular basis. Honestly, kind of way too much, but that's okay. At least it's healthy. I stare at satellite scans of Giza. I stare at the SAR scans. I stare at the weird colorful scans from the side where you can see the structures underneath the plateau. I just stare at these all the time, doing as much research as I can into Plato, Herodotus, Paul White, George Reisner, all these different expeditions and explorers from the early 1900s, late 1800s. And it just seems so impossible that their claims from so long ago that claim to have found massive structures and pillars and all sorts of stuff under the plateau is kind of impossible to ignore now that we've confirmed with the Cofre Project scans that there really is something down there. But this is not an Egypt topic discussion today. Today we are on 100% UFO disclosure. Now, a whole lot of different celebrities from our history have mentioned this or come out with experiencer claims. And yet all of them are usually ignored or kind of told to shut up. I do remember off the top of my head Kurt Russell going on and saying he was part of the Phoenix Lights experience. And then you just saw my intro, John Lennon had an experience. That's interesting. How many other people had experiences and just either decided not to tell or were kept quiet? Probably a lot, especially in Hollywood, because they've got a lot to lose. Not only that, but they have a lot of people invested in them who will tell them, hey, shut up or else I'm going to lose my money. Right? Yeah, so that's probably a factor, absolutely. But again, we're going to stay on point here, and we're going to stay with professional officials, government officials, and the powers that be. Perfect transition into Anna Paulina Luna's most recent comment. Check out this clip.
Actually tell the American people, it was made aware to me this evening that NBC actually has a video that's never been seen before. We're actually going to be sending a letter requesting that from NBC because it allegedly shows Oswald near the vehicle when the assassination took place, which means that he couldn't have been the shooter. So again, we're tracking down all this information. But look, there's even a CIA document that came out that Mr. Morley pointed out that actually said that the CIA never bought the lone gunman theory. And so I think the American people had an inclination as to what we were saying, but we never had the hard evidence until now. And so it's important to note that in a free and fair society, how could you operate or have an agency operating in the shadows? And so kudos to President Trump, also Director Radcliffe and Tulsi Gabbard for pushing for this transparency. It is going to be generational changing that they've done this, and we hope to bring forward legislation to ensure that this never happens again for future generations to come.
You're saying NBC has been keeping this tape of Oswald under wraps?
Correct. In fact, Director Stone actually told us that he was showed this tape, that it was a secondary copy, and that he said that this could blow open the entire JFK investigation. What I will also tell you, though, Jesse, is he said that NBC has been very, very much so guarding this tape. And so I believe that that tape belongs to the American people. We are going to be sending a letter asking for that tape. And I would encourage everyone to ask NBC to release that tape to the public. It's important, not just for our investigations, but so the American people know the truth as to what happened with John F. Kennedy.
All right. Well, I think they will release it because I believe the president will probably put it on Truth Social pretty soon. All right, Congresswoman Anna Paulina
well, hopefully
Luna.
Fox promotes it. Yeah.
There you go.
Now, I've had this theory for quite some time. I'm sure a lot of you have as well. If you scroll back quite a ways through my profile, you'll see a few different pictures where I put JFK, Marilyn Monroe, and a UFO all on one picture, and I put "mark my words." That's what that means. I believe that's connected in a major way. There's a whole bunch of claims from different people who have said they saw Marilyn Monroe leave the White House with JFK one night in order to go see UFOs, some things from outer space. Yeah, there's really tunnels in the White House that led out to some hiding spot where he used to sneak her out in his trysts, is I think that's what the word they called, or word they used. But anyway, they used to sneak out all the time. And one night, he showed her the UFOs. And very, very shortly after, both were dead. Now, I think this is absolutely connected. I think JFK was absolutely taken out because of UFOs, or the fact that maybe he was going to disclose them or work with Russia to disclose them. I don't know the full story there, so if I'm wrong or if I misquoted anything just now, by all means, I apologize. But I'm not as familiar with that portion. But my theory and a lot of the research I've done over the last 2 years into this led me to believe that absolutely Marilyn Monroe and JFK were both taken out for the same exact reasons. And now, here, 2026, at least half of my theory is already confirmed. JFK. And the fact that Lee Harvey Oswald was not involved whatsoever. The CIA covered this up. But here's another question. And this is actually a little side note, but it's actually fairly important. You just heard Anna Paulina Luna talking to the gentleman, what is it, with Fox News, I think it was, and mentioning that NBC, sorry, not ABC, NBC has a video that they've been holding back that shows that Lee Harvey Oswald was not there or was not the shooter. Or he was standing next to the car, so it couldn't have been him. Okay? Now, that's all fine and good, but here's my point. Why aren't they being charged with obstruction of justice for hiding that evidence or information or video? Why didn't they give that to us 50 years ago? And why is no one, literally no one, pissed off that some news agency has literally kept evidence pertaining to the biggest crime in human history? I'm sorry, but that makes me a little upset. Controlling the narrative when you're supposed to be feeding people the truth. I don't know why I'm surprised, but I can't complain. We are finally getting some truth. So, out of respect for everyone who's been affected by this and everyone who was lost, I will give you the benefit of the doubt and I will let you just do your thing. We'll see what happens. Hopefully you'll do what's right, whoever you are. I'm not pointing the finger at any one person. I'm just very upset that no one seems to care that some news agency had this evidence for however long and just they're kind of, I'm not releasing it. It's mine. Okay, for one, this should have been released a long time ago. It's evidence. And not only that, it proves someone's innocence. 2, this is a public news agency. Okay, if that is true and those public news agencies aren't truly owned by somebody higher up, then why hasn't someone showed up and demanded that? I'm really surprised that no one has noticed that small little detail, but anyway, let's move on. The fact that these people are finally allowing this to be talked about openly and publicly says a whole lot. It says that this transition is about to happen, but it also says that, hey, wait, what else could we be being distracted from currently? So stay alert. There could be something else that's drawing our attention away from, I don't know how to say it, something else entirely. I don't know. But at the same time, you already know there's a whole lot going on right now. So maybe they're not. Maybe there's just so much going on that they have to pick and choose what they cover right now. I'm willing to admit that. I get it. I'm in a little bit of a conspiratorial mindset at the moment. I'm not really sure why, but possibly it's just because of the thought process I just explained. But it's all coming out right now, and it's all tied to our secret human origins. This is what I've been talking about this week, the fact that UFO disclosure is actually yesterday's news. The next major topic is going to be the Giza Plateau, Huara, Mexico, the discoveries in Mexico, all these different ties to ET life found at these archaeological sites all around the world, and the major structure that exists under the Giza Plateau. This is the big story. But so far, the majority hasn't really caught on to that yet. Yeah, a lot of people are aware of what's going on in Egypt. They know who the Khafre Project guys are. They've probably seen the scans, and they've probably heard the rumors about a second Sphinx, which just got confirmed yesterday, by the way. But they're not understanding what it really means. Okay, so if UFO disclosure is now confirmed and real, and we all believe ET's life is real, and that's that, right? How does that change and pertain to the other topics of our history? Stories like the Anunnaki, which I talk about way too much, any of the ancient Egyptians and their connections to, whether it be other sites like the Mayans, or how do I say this? It's a horrible way to start that phrase. Egypt and everything in it, and all the discoveries about it that are being disclosed right now, make it completely obvious and incredibly clear that humans didn't build the pyramids. There's a lot more to the pyramids than any of us realized underneath it. And the stories of, how do I say this part? Thoth, the emerald tablets of Thoth the Atlantean, the ship under the Sphinx. There are different connections to the metaphysical, using granite sarcophagus boxes to potentially heal and transport the body, all sorts of crazy ways. These stargates and portals that they have the ability to open, the initiation process that apparently turns you into a mortal by waking your divine abilities that live inside all of us. Yeah, okay, so tie all of this together, and the incredible advanced beings and how advanced they were, and the technology they were able to create, what they learned about the cosmos, how fast they were able to build these temples and put these engravings on them that had messages as warnings for the rest of us, being able to go down under the ocean with all their advanced tech and live down there. Then the Navy started noticing them, and that's how we figured out what's going on. They never left. They're still down there under the ocean, but they're not ET. No, they're the original terrestrials. They're from here. They've always been here. They've never left. They just went in the earth or below the water, and we just kind of stayed on the outside. This is all connected, and ancient Egypt is the center point of all of it, potentially even Mexico. We're finding a whole lot about Mexico, or finding out a whole lot about Mexico right now. And here's the best part, my favorite part. Atlantis is real. That's where we all came from. That is the real beginning. So, stay tuned to Trevor Grossi for that, because he's got some amazing stuff coming out of Mexico, and it's going to blow your mind.
In recent months, Congress has also been presented with evidence that points to technologies that, to our knowledge, are beyond our current capabilities. It is our duty as elected representatives to follow the facts wherever they lead and to ensure that those facts are not buried under classification stamps or bureaucratic excuses. Let me be clear. Whether UAPs represent adversarial technology, natural phenomena, or something beyond current human understanding, Congress has a responsibility to investigate. If these objects are foreign in origin, then they pose a direct threat to our national security. And if they represent something unknown, they demand rigorous scientific inquiry, not ridicule, not secrecy, and not silence. The stakes are very high. Adversarial nations are not waiting for us to catch up. They are studying these phenomena as well aggressively, as multiple nations have also announced their own parliamentary investigations into this very topic. If we are to continue to hide information from ourselves, we risk strategic surprise. If we continue to ignore our pilots and service members, as well as countless government whistleblowers, we risk losing their trust. And if we continue to shield the truth from the public, we risk eroding the very foundation of democratic accountability. This is why this hearing matters. This is not about fueling speculation. This is about demanding the basic transparency from the Department of Defense and the intelligence community and other military contractors. It is about asking the questions every American has the right to ask. What do we know? What don't we know? And why in a free society are we being told so little?